Ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Goulardi Fest speaking to the legendary Hoolihan, Mr. Bob Wells. Bob, it is such a pleasure to have you.
Don't you call people a legend after they've died? I mean,
Well, Bob, you kind of circumvent all that because you are just a institution of entertainment, knowledge, and you're just your humanitarian qualities are supersede your presence.
excuse me, it's getting a little deep in here.
So, Bob, how did it all start? How did the character of Hoolihan actually start?
Well, interesting you should ask that. I've only told this 1,000 times. I think I can get it right. A year before I even showed up and auditioned and then got the job, I was in Kansas City, and I was doing weekend weather there. And there's a fella who was the production manager at the station there, and I didn't know this, even though we were friends. He didn't let me know, but he had come to Cleveland to be interviewed for the job as production manager at Channel 8. Came back home, and we had our usual get-together with the family and all that. And he says, "Oh, by the way, I'm leaving the station, and another by the way, they're looking for a weatherman. They wanted somebody a little more lively, as Howard Hoffman and Dick Goddard and Don Webster were doing the weather here at the time. Good job, but it was kind of straight, shall we say.
Monotone.
Yeah, well, whatever. I wouldn't say that. Anyway, so they wanted somebody with more of a comedy flair. And so I auditioned, and I got an audition tape, and I looked at it afterwards like, oh, my God, that's terrible. How could I do that day after day,
Yeah.
10 times a week? That's ridiculous. So I asked my friend, listen, I'm going to go off. I was in the Air Force Reserve, and I had a trip to Hawaii, you got to fly, got to get the time in. So I says, would it be okay if I filled this, I did what you want by way of an audition tape after I come back? And he says, yeah, they've been looking for a while, so yeah, go ahead. So I did, came back. Now, mind you, I had gone to Hawaii. When I got back, on the radio side, this fella in the green room for the announcers, relax, before or after their shift, this guy was doing a gimmick with the audience. If they would send in stuff, whatever it was, he would give them like refrigerators and TV sets and stereos and all of that.
Wow.
Nice exchange there. Well, one of the things that he got in that exchange was a grass skirt, which was up on the wall. So I got an engineer to record me. Says, come here. And this is actually on the air. I didn't do a separate audition. I just had him recorded off the air. So I'm wearing a grass skirt, and I had him shoot me from the waist up. So they couldn't see the grass skirt. I says, I don't want to brag. I was gone for the last week, and I don't want to brag where I was, but I had a great time, and suffice it to say, it's good to be back. Thank you very much. And then I had them widen the camera out, and I'm wearing this grass skirt, and one of the stagehands came up with a lighter, like you're going to light me on fire. Get away, and all that. Anyway, bottom line, I took that tape, sent that to Cleveland, to Channel 8, and they said, okay, come on, you got the job. So,
What year was this?
But I had to audition. When was this?
Yeah.
That would be the fall of 1965. We're going back into the last millennium.
It was, Bob, it was a golden era, though, of TV.
It was.
Really was.
I mean, the local, Franz the Toy Maker and all the, just incredible talent in this town.
Yeah.
I came to, appreciate that more and more. The more Franz the Toy Maker on our show, on our station, it was incredible. It's sad to see all of that go away.
I don't think the young people today understand how important that was. They don't know what good TV is.
Well, even more than that, management doesn't know either.
Right.
And they don't appreciate the legends that have come about. Chuck, he did that show for 40 years.
Incredible.
And the new people, I don't want to knock anybody, but I will. They just didn't appreciate what had gone before, And it's easier to put on some little dinky show, cheaper, and still make good money with it. So that's why he retired. They just, enough of that. And then they changed their minds and they said, hey, we understand you were pretty popular there, good for sponsors, good for making money for the station. That's the bottom line, unfortunately. It's not what legends you can create. The almighty dollar speaks very loudly in this and any other business, really. But anyway, so Chuck is still doing the show with just skits, and it's on Sunday night on Channel 8. So
I would imagine writing all those skits.
Oh.
You get a writer's block. I mean, how could you keep writing good skits?
Well, I don't want to overuse the word genius, but he really is. He's the kind of person who somebody can tell him a joke, a verbal thing, and he turns it in his mind into a visual thing. And he'll be driving along in the car, pull over, and write out the thing on a piece of paper, and then it developed into a skit. I mean, and fortunately, I had a certain flair for doing accents and things, like the French guy who the guy ran over his foot and all that,
Right.
and the Chinese thing with the kung fu things, and it was
politically
a joy.
incorrect today, though. You probably couldn't do that today.
Well, it's funny you should say that, and I would say no on the basis of it, because once we established a rapport with the audience, they were just a couple of guys having fun, and we never put down any particular group.
Yeah.
Chuck coined the phrase certain ethnic person.
Yes.
So it's always those people who are...
You never really knew who they were, but you knew.
Exactly. So we got by with murder. And, I just along that same line, when we did the Soul Man thing with the young, good-looking black dude,
Yeah.
being Soul Man, I was really kind of afraid that the black community wouldn't take to that too well. But this was their favorite thing. I mean, a black face on our show. They loved it and loved us for it.
It was good.
So, yeah. I mean, we had them too dumb to fly, if you might recall.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, man, they're really going to be...
Well, you
nice.
narrated all that.
Oh, yeah.
And you were good at it.
Oh, thank you.
I mean-
but it was so fun, and everywhere we went we'd go separately. Chuck and I were not Siamese twins.
Right.
We would do our own thing, and wherever when Chuck was out and I was not there, these black kids especially would say, "Hey, where Hoolihan at?" I mean, as though we're joined at the hip. But anyway, but it was fun. I mean, the bottom line, the rapport was great, and they respected us for it because they knew we weren't doing it to be mean.
Right.
It was all in fun, and they took it as that, and so onward and upward.
Bob, it doesn't seem like people today have the same sense of humor. They're more touchy. They're not as accepting of humor as they once were.
I would agree with that, and I'm not into evolution, I don't believe in it, but you would think if we did evolve, we would increase our awareness.
Yeah.
And the sense of humor would be accepted in whatever, as long as it wasn't done with a mean intent.
Malicious.
Which we never did. And with police, for example, there's one time that we apologized on the air. I mean, there's a show business maxim: you don't ever apologize for what you did.
Right.
Just let them forget about it.
Right.
It's kind of like politicians.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a parallel there. And so there was this one thing where we early in the show, 1965 now we're talking, or 66, excuse me, when Ernie Anderson and Ghilardi left for Hollywood. And so we carried on the tradition, if you will, of blowing stuff up, like little toy cars and stuff like that. And the time we apologized was when we timed it out, because it was live at the time, for the first half hour of the show. Then we would record the rest of it and go home and watch it ourselves, at home. But in this particular case, I had the little box of cars, and I set that out so the camera could get a close-up of it on camera. And I had a firecracker that I put under there, and I had him time it out so I would know when to light the firecracker. And he did. He says, "Okay, 10 seconds." So I took the match and I lit the firecracker. So it would take about 12 seconds to burn down and explode. And so there's the car, firecracker on it, and we looked over the screen, and now we're live, and here's the car, and it was blank on my side. On the other side, on the air, it said police. And it was like, oh my God, and I started to reach for it, no, and then pow, it just blows up and scatters little parts all over the studio. And so we had to apologize.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, some people didn't appreciate the apology, but what are you going to do? All you can do is apologize. But that's the only time we ever apologized for something on the air.
Bob Wells, our special guest here, live at Ghilardi Fest. Bob, I'll leave you with this thought.
Okay.
How do you think, if the exposure exposure was there for your characters, all the characters that you've done. How do you think the kids are going to look back on your legacy? I mean, how would you want people to look back on your legacy?
Well, you know, it's fun. There's two words that really apply, I think. One is love, and the other is respect. And to me, I want the marriage of those two.
Yeah.
That would be my legacy if I could write it myself, you know. And to be here in 2016, when I haven't been in town other than the Gallardi Fest since 1979, when I went down to Tampa Bay area to be part of a Christian TV station, that is so flattering. I just can't tell you. As I tell people, here I'm a celebrity. I'm if you can't appreciate it, but I'm doing quotes, finger quotes here in the air. Here I'm a celebrity. In Tampa Bay, I'm just another old fart.
Well, you know what makes you so great, Bob, is that you're a great orator. You're able to extemporaneously act, and you're just a good guy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's not. I mean, no, God, I'm just looking at somebody across the way here. Hey, you got to come to the Gallardi Fest. It's great. All these characters that come up. So anyway, no, it is super flattering, and it warms my heart to come up here. And anytime they want me to come up, I'm here.
Bob, thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Ray. Good to see you.
You're a good man, Bob. Thank you. You've made you've given me a lot of happiness over the years.
Thank you.